Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going to be looking at the connection between personal growth and writing. We found a couple of blog posts from writers who use their platforms to reflect on their own self-discovery and to share tips on how to generate ideas. So get ready to learn why reflecting on your past can help you write compelling narratives, and maybe even discover how just like skimming headlines can spark these great writing ideas.
Yeah, it's interesting how we have all these experiences in our lives, and it's such a good resource for writing material. It's almost like we have a treasure chest full of insights and stories and feelings, but we don't always use them in our writing.
You're so right. And one of the authors we're looking at today, they uh they really hit on this idea of using your own personal timeline as like a map for ideas. They even suggest asking yourself some pretty deep questions, like who are the people who had the biggest impact on your life at different ages, like 5 years old, 15, 25? How did these people like shape who you are? And maybe even more importantly, how has your way of interacting with people like them changed as you've gotten older?
Yeah, it's about, like recognizing those patterns in our relationships. And by looking at those themes, you can not only come up with good ideas for your writing, but you can also like understand yourself better, your needs, your desires. It's like you're looking in a mirror to see how you've changed.
That's a really great point. And it's not just about people, right? This author also talks about thinking back on the big choices you made in your life, like those forks in the road, Think about your health, your relationships, your job, your money,
Yeah.
your family even. How did those big decisions actually turn out? And like, what did you learn from them?
Exactly. It's not about just thinking about the past, but actually using those experiences to help you grow. When you understand how your past affects the way you react to things, now you can change how you approach things in the future. That's powerful stuff.
It is. It's like you're finally in control of your own story instead of letting the story control you. But okay, we've talked about using the past to come up with writing ideas. What about finding inspiration in like the present moment?
Well, the second author has a cool take on that. They say that really listening to other people, especially when they're talking about their problems, can actually give you a lot of great writing material. It's like tapping into those things that we all experience as humans, seeing yourself in other people's stories.
That's a great point. So it's not about just like passively listening to what people say. It's about actively engaging with what they're going through. The author actually recommends trying to listen more than you talk when someone is confiding in you.
That's right. And it's interesting because when we listen deeply, we develop empathy, but we also start to understand different points of view. And I think that can lead to some amazing personal growth.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like when we offer support and advice to other people, we actually learn something about ourselves in the process. It's a win-win. But it's not just about those deep, serious conversations, right? Even those small, everyday moments can give you an idea.
Exactly. The author talks about how important it is to pay attention to what they call emotional triggers, those little moments throughout the day that make you feel something strongly. Maybe it's a headline or a comment someone makes, or even just a song on the radio.
Yeah, like when you suddenly feel really happy or angry or even just annoyed and you think, whoa, why did that get to me?
Yeah, exactly. And the author recommends keeping a journal to write these triggers down. And don't just write what happened, but really try to understand why you felt that way. It's about figuring out what pushes your buttons where your deepest emotions are.
That's so interesting. It's like using writing to explore your own feelings like you're on an archaeological dig.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing this isn't just about self-awareness, right? It must tie back into writing somehow.
Of course it does. When you examine those emotional triggers through writing, you might uncover beliefs or ideas you have that are holding you back both as a writer and as a person. And those strong, genuine feelings can be what drives you to write your best stuff.
So it's like those moments when we're vulnerable, when we're really feeling something strongly that can turn into the seeds of our most powerful stories.
You got it. That's where the magic happens. But personal growth isn't just about looking inward, you know? It's also about making goals and taking action.
Right. It's about having a plan to get to where you want to be. And, the Calm blog post we looked at talks about something called SMART goals. I'd love to hear more about what that means.
Sure, SMART goals are this framework for both personal and professional development. It's a way of setting goals that are much more likely to stick because they're specific and measurable and achievable and relevant and time-bound.
Okay. I can already see how this could be helpful, not just in general, but for writing too. You give us an example of how someone could use a SMART goal in their writing.
Of course. Let's say your goal is to finally finish that short story you've been working on. Instead of just saying, I'll finish it eventually, you could set a SMART goal like, I'm going to write 500 words every weekday evening for the next 2 weeks. That's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it relates to your writing goals, and it has a clear deadline.
What's a good point? And I bet breaking it down like that makes it feel less overwhelming, too. It's like taking this huge, scary goal and turning it into smaller, manageable pieces.
Exactly. And by keeping track of your progress, you can stay motivated and celebrate the small wins along the way, which makes writing feel more rewarding.
So we've talked about reflecting on past experiences, finding inspiration in conversations, tapping into emotional triggers, and setting smart goals. What else can we do to encourage personal growth, both in our lives and in our writing?
Well, the Calm blog also emphasizes the importance of developing what's called a growth mindset, building resilience and incorporating mindfulness practices into your routine. All of these things are important for everyone, but they're especially helpful for writers.
That's interesting. I can see how those things would be important. But I'm curious about how they specifically relate to writing. What does having a growth mindset actually look like for a writer?
Good question. A growth mindset is all about believing that you can get better at things through dedication and hard work. For writers, this means welcoming challenges, looking at setbacks as chances to learn, and not letting the fear of failure stop you. It's about focusing on how much you're improving, not on being perfect.
So it's about moving away from the idea that our talents are set in stone and accepting that we can always grow and improve through effort. That's a powerful idea.
It really is. And resilience is just as important, especially when you're dealing with rejection or criticism, which, let's face it, every writer goes through at some point. It's about bouncing back from those setbacks, learning from them, and continuing to pursue your writing goals with even more determination.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Writing can be tough, and it takes real guts to keep going, especially when you're starting out. You need that inner strength to keep pushing forward.
I agree. And that's where mindfulness comes in. Adding mindfulness practices to your writing routine can do amazing things for your focus, your creativity, and your overall well-being. Whether it's meditation, deep breathing, or just taking a mindful walk in nature, these things can help you quiet that inner critic, reduce stress, and connect with a deeper sense of presence and clarity.
You know, I really believe in the power of mindfulness, too. I find that even just a few minutes of meditation each day helps me concentrate and be more productive with my writing. It's like clearing out the mental clutter so the creative ideas can flow more easily.
It's incredible how those small changes in our routine can have such a big effect on our well-being and our creativity. And it's not just about formal meditation either. It's about bringing that awareness and attention to every moment, even the ones that seem ordinary. Like really enjoying your morning coffee while you brainstorm ideas or noticing how the pen feels in your hand as you write.
That's a great point. It's about enjoying the process, the little things, and finding those tiny sparks of joy in everyday moments. And it seems like we've just started to explore this topic. There's so much more to discuss.
Right, we've covered a lot, but this is just the beginning. Join us for part 2 of this deep dive, where we'll talk about even more practical tips and strategies for putting these ideas into practice in your daily life and your writing journey. You know, it's amazing when you think about it. Writing and personal growth, they seem like two separate things, but they're really closely connected. You can't really have one without the other, can you?
I know, right? They kind of feed off each other.
Yeah.
It's like this awesome cycle of self-discovery and creative expression.
And the cool thing is, you don't have to be like a professional writer to benefit from this stuff. Anyone who wants to understand themselves better, explore their feelings, gain some clarity, they can use writing as a tool for personal growth.
That's so true. Sometimes people think, oh, writing is just for creative types. But it's so much more than that. It's a skill that everyone can learn and use to improve their lives.
Absolutely. And the more you practice writing, the better you get at expressing your thoughts and feelings. That's a valuable skill no matter what you do. It can make your relationships better, help you communicate better at work, even improve your own self-awareness.
Yeah, it's like writing becomes this secret weapon for dealing with all the complicated stuff in life. But let's get back to those SMART goals for a minute. How can we actually use them to improve our writing? What are some real examples?
Well, one way is to set SMART goals around developing specific writing skills. Let's say you want to get better at writing really vivid descriptions. You could make a goal to practice describing everyday objects in detail for like 15 minutes each day. Or maybe you struggle with writing dialogue. Challenge yourself to write a short scene every week with realistic and engaging conversation.
Oh, I like those ideas. It's all about breaking down those big, overwhelming goals into smaller, more manageable steps, things you can actually fit into your day.
Exactly. And remember that R in SMART stands for relevant. So make sure your goals match your overall writing aspirations. If your dream is to write a novel, your goal should be helping you develop the skills and stamina you need for that kind of project.
So it's about setting yourself up for success
Mm-hmm.
by choosing goals that are challenging but still attainable.
Right. And don't forget the T, which means time-bound. Having a deadline, even if you set it yourself, creates this sense of urgency and accountability. It helps you stay focused.
This makes me think about how we can use SMART goals to develop a consistent writing habit too. Like maybe setting a goal to write for a certain amount of time each day or aiming for a specific word count every week.
That's a great application of the SMART framework. And by tracking your progress, you can stay motivated and celebrate those milestones along the way. It makes the whole journey more enjoyable.